Spoken name.
He lurked in the shadows, waiting and hoping she wouldn't take a different route. This was her usual room. He knew that. He knew her.
Ghost of Me, the new book by Amanda Steele, can be found at Amazon, Kobo, Waterstones, and many, many other places. Hi guys, it's Andy N. Thanks today for downloading or streaming yet another episode of Spoken Label. As you may or may not be aware, Spoken Label was started in the beginning of 2006, and currently we have well over 150 sessions recorded and sent. Although you can find it on various networks, the full archive is available for streaming and downloading at Spoken Label bandcamp.com. It is a free download or free stream in there, but obviously if you feel like chucking me a few pennies that way, it'd be eternally grateful to help me keep this podcast going and keep improving my equipment, etc. Enjoy. Speak to you soon. Bye bye. Spoken Label. Hi guys, it's Andy and again live from Spoken Label, back at End Studios tonight, and I've got a gentleman on Skype. It's Skype, it's not, it's Facebook actually, who I met at that what she said night last year through a dear friend of mine and Amanda's, because Ros Weaver, and Mike Southwell, who is the gentleman in question. We've had a good chat before, Mike and Mike, about his telling us where he's been living all over the country basically. So, and about where his work came from originally. Now, Mike, do you want to introduce yourself to everybody that's listening today? Tell them who you are, where all your work originally came from, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, so I'm Mike Southwell. I don't really have a performance name. I kind of go with the at Mike Spoken Word, I guess. So I kind of go with the real name, stage name, same thing. I'm about to turn 36 in 2 weeks' time, so I'm a little bit sensitive about my age at the moment.
Mike, I'm 47, mate, so don't worry about that, right?
I actually wrote a piece, the first piece I wrote this year.
Oh yeah.
And it's called 36, and it's talking about what it's like to be turning 36 and what I thought life would be like at this point.
Yeah,
as opposed to what it is.
No, I know what you mean.
But yeah, I'm a performance poet. So pretty much everything I do is for the stage. I am a resident poet for an organisation called the Sunday Practice, which is a monthly event, which happens the first Sunday of every month at the Cellar Bar in Leeds.
Oh, cool.
So we're running for 6 years now.
Cool. What's Sunday Practice then? The people who don't know it.
Sunday Practice is one of those things that you just need to experience. So it's a live kind of spoken word or music event. We have a resident house band called the Purple Archie Collective. It's sort of freestyle behind the performers. And yeah, it's been running for 6 years. I've been a resident poet for 2 years now. It's actually the first place I performed in Leeds. So I took a long time out from performing. It's the first place I performed in Leeds in, I think it was February 2017. It was the first time I performed in a long time. So
right, yeah. So it just kind of naturally led you that way, really, hasn't it? So yeah.
It did, yeah, it did. And like I said, for me, there's like we have a little thing. It's like Sunday Practice family. So anyone that comes along, it's like family essentially. So it's a different kind of event. Like I said, it's like a live music / spoken word event. So
cool, cool.
It's got a little twist though. It's got a little twist. We've got our host, Khadija Ibrahim of Leeds Young Authors, is the host. Now anyone that gets up on stage to perform has to dance with her first. So, it's a slightly different event, and I think it works, to be fair, because anyone that's nervous beforehand, when you've just been up on stage dancing before you perform, I think it lets the nerves out of it. But so it's a little tradition we have.
I like that.
Where would that go?
Oh, probably. I'm remembering then. If you ever come to watch you that night, that event, then don't put my name up for reading, and I'll just watch. Because I've got 2 left feet on the dance floor, so cool. Now, obviously, I know from you said you told me off mic before, obviously, you took a long break from your performing because you were an MC before that when you were much younger, weren't you?
Yeah, kind of how I got into kind of spoken word. It's not like a transition, I guess. I grew up listening to listen to hip hop and rap artists are essentially street poets. It's all poetry. So I started off as a rapper or an MC long time ago, and I just naturally transitioned into the spoken word really because it kind of gave me a bit more freedom and a bit more scope to talk on more subjects really.
Yeah, completely. So, and obviously, like I know you did a lot of travelling when you were younger as well, weren't you? So your family's been, should I say, quite been a few places now. Do you find that your writing has been influenced by the amount of places you've lived in over the years?
It's funny. I was asked this question a while back actually. I'm not sure, to be fair. I think I suppose that they kind of never settled in one place for too long has an influence on the writing. But I suppose for me, I'm the kind of writer. I write what I see. I write what I know. I write what I experience. So the travel aspect of it, I don't think I wouldn't say has affected it too much in that sense. I know a few people that would call themselves road poets or traveling poets. I am where I am and I perform where I perform. So
yeah. No, I get you completely with that one straight away as well. So no, so and then, like for people that don't know you, then do you have any sort of reoccurring themes that crop up in your work very much?
I do, to be fair. A big theme of mine is masculinity, and it's something that I think in this age, in this day and age, there's a big thing, and I know the word toxic masculinity can be quite an abrasive subject. It's one of those things that can annoy some people, and I'm one of these people that thinks, I'm not saying that masculinity is toxic, but like all people, like we have our toxic traits. So I address masculinity in all its forms, from addiction. I'm an addict in recovery, so I talk about addiction. I talk about mental health. I talk about love and relationships. I talk about being a father. So I'm a father. I have a daughter. Her name's Lily. She turns 12 in April.
Wow.
So if I didn't feel old before, I feel old now. I'm about to have a 12-year-old daughter.
Oh yeah, kids. Hitting the dreaded teens now, aren't you? Now, good grief, yeah.
Exactly. She's pretty much a teenager already. To be fair, has been for a while.
Yeah.
And actually,
kids age quicker nowadays.
Sorry.
No, sorry. I was saying kids age quicker nowadays. That's for sure. So I've got a friend that's got daughters at 12, and so my friend says her daughter's like 12 going on 19. So yeah, I can relate to that.
But yeah, I talk a lot of the theme of what it's like to be a man in this day and age. That's a theme that runs through a lot of the word. I'm also quite political with some of my stuff as well. I've done a lot of protest poetry at events for kind of climate strike and things, rebellion, and a lot of other bits and pieces like that. So I suppose for me, like I can only write what I know. So it's like the world through my eyes and through my experiences. So. But yeah, I do feel like that the kind of theme of masculinity, or what is masculinity these days, what is being a man, runs through my poetry quite a bit. But then I also have a lot of comedic stuff. I think one of the pieces I sent you before was my piece on Kanye West.
Yes, it was. I did like that one. I did like that one.
Which is a favourite of mine. I've got other bits and pieces. Well, I've got pieces on kind of the whole online dating kind of scene, and from everything to even pieces on kind of writer's block as well. So it's for me, I write what I feel, and it tends to be whatever's happening in the world at that point, or how that affects me or how that affects others. So
yeah. Do you have any sort of set writing pattern as a writer, or you see right what's coming in your head and stuff? Do you try and sit down to write, or do you have to let the words, just the muses, come to you more?
I mean, I get ideas all the time. I mean, I don't write on paper. I tap, I don't type. So I write on my phone and my tablet device. Because I've got one of those with me. So if I get ideas, I'll jot them down. Most of what I write happens on the spot. So I'll get an idea, I'll get a rhyme, and then and I've got an idea of where I want the story to go. But it'll just flow from there. Some of my best pieces I've written in 20 minutes. Other pieces have taken 2 months to write.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
I generally find if I plan to write on a certain subject, it can take me a while. Whereas other subjects hit my head and that's it. It could be 2 hours later or 20 minutes later, I have a finished piece. At that point, I generally record it to audio, play it back to myself, and then make a few edits to make sure it flows and and makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I've got a few people that I kind of send pieces to when they're done, so they can listen to them and tell me what they think. And they're not all kind of massive poetry fans or poets themselves, but I kind of like to get a bit of feedback on what their thoughts are really.
Yeah. No, I get it completely. It's the best way that I can send. Sometimes you ask your friends that aren't necessarily writers themselves. They're basically won't flower around what they like, what they don't do or don't like behind your base, and that's usually.
I think as well sometimes because if you obviously there's so many great events in Leeds and around West Yorkshire, and to be fair, it's building all over the country.
Yeah, massive. Manchester's been massive past couple of years, that's for sure. So.
But I think a lot of the time we can kind of perform to ourselves a lot. So it's nice to kind of get fresh people kind of listen to spoken word. So I post on social media quite a bit, and I will send it to friends who may not necessarily be massive fans of poetry or spoken word. So it's nice to get that kind of different view on things because ultimately it's easy to kind of play to the people that love poetry. It's I always try and aim my pieces to affect or connect with the people that don't necessarily listen to spoken word or read poetry. So it's nice to get different ears on things.
Yeah, completely agree with that. Have you just performed around Leeds so far, or have you gone beyond Leeds much?
Since I've started performing again, I just around Leeds, a few other places in West Yorkshire, so like places like Bradford and Halifax, Huddersfield, Manchester. I've actually performed in Dublin, Ireland.
Fantastic! What was that experience like?
It was quite nice to be fair because I went with my ex-girlfriend. We went on a holiday in 2018, and we thought while we were there we'd find an open mic. So we found this open mic, signed up, and it was quite nice because it was a different. Because obviously it's very similar. Spoken word is spoken word, but it was interesting to see how it was done in different places. So
yeah, I've got a few friends that are Irish poets, and it's even though the language is the same, their approach is completely different. It's really good. And I can agree with that one. Recommend anybody listen. Get Ireland to go straight away, certainly. So, where would you like?
Those things I'm looking at to kind of perform in more events in different places. I mean, I've been very lucky since I've been performing. In terms of slam events and all the different events I've done, Leeds International Fest and Leeds Lit Fest, and all these amazing kind of things I've done. You're lucky enough to perform at the Playhouse a couple of times. But it's one of those things that I tend to be kind of Leeds based and West Yorkshire based. But it's one of those things really. I want to try and kind of spread out and perform elsewhere. It's just, as I mentioned before, before we came on here, I'm famously disorganised. So I set the intention to do lots of things, but the execution isn't always there.
Yeah, I think sometimes you need to have a diary like I do, and then I forget to fill my diary, and then the man has to remind me. Oh, we're going here tonight. Are we? Yeah, so I know exactly what you mean with that one. So no, completely agree with that one. So, well, what have you got coming up then? Have you got any aims you want to aim for when you're writing or anything? Have you? Or
a few things coming up kind of immediately. I am performing at a few events coming up. I mean, it's just been the Sunday practice this last week. I've got this month. I think I'm terrible with dates. It's on the calendar on my phone. But I'm doing an event called In Other Words in Leeds at the end of the month. I'm also doing an event called Moetry. Now, Moetry is it's a big spoken word event. It's London based, but they've sort of moved north recently. And this will be their third event in Leeds, so I'll be performing at that at the end of the month.
Great stuff.
I'm going to be performing at an event called Blur the Lines, which will be part of Leeds Lit Fest, which is run by a good friend of mine called Lentz, who is a spoken word artist and an MC. Very, very talented. He's Blur the Lines is an event that's, I think it's the third time it's run now. It was at Leeds Lit Fest last year. It was at the Playhouse. It's part of the Furnace Fest, which I performed at prior to Christmas, and it's happening again in March, which I think Leeds Lit Fest is. But yeah, performing wise, they're the sort of the things I've got coming up. Intention wise, at some point this year, I want to kind of put together a collection on the subject of masculinity. So maybe a collection of maybe 20 or 30 pieces, with the aim to get published. At this stage, it's just an idea, and I do have the intention to actually get some pieces, just singular pieces published here and there in and kind of different kind of journals or kind of publications online, etc. So I've sort of spent 3 years doing the performance side of things, and I feel like I've got over 100 pieces completed, and I feel like I want to kind of get them in print to get a bit further reaching maybe. But that's, like I said, for me, I said this last year and I did nothing about it. So hopefully this year, 2020, is the year I actually pull my finger out.
I'm sure it will be, mate. I'm sure it will be, mate, with that one. So, like I said, sometimes we just look anyhow we do anything like that sometimes. Or like I said, just something getting around to get yourself organised and things. So I know what you mean completely there. So
I always say this. If I had someone to motivate me and tell me what to do, I'd conquer the bloody world. But the problem is, because I don't, because I manage myself and I organise myself, I tend to be, I'll put things off, put off doing things. So,
yeah.
But to be honest with you, it's also a dream of mine, and I'm always having conversations with friends of mine, that are DJs and producers. It is a kind of a dream of mine to have my spoken word kind of recorded to music.
Good idea, mate. Straight away.
I know quite a few sort of dub DJs and producers and kind of jungle DJs and producers that I'm always kind of bending over ear and talking to them about ideas. And it's one of those things when you're at a night out, when you're at a rave or you're at a dub night, and the conversations I had, and it's like, same again, it's execution. So it's one of those things that eventually I do want to have that done. It'd be nice to kind of say, it'd be nice to kind of go on Spotify or SoundCloud and say this is my song.
Yeah,
or be at an event and have my song played.
Oh yeah,
quite nice.
Oh, completely. What sort of dub music do you like then? So you mentioned like dub nights.
For me, I mean, I'm a bit of a. I'm about to turn 36, but I still like to get out to raves. So I love my dub reggae.
The club, love it.
My drum and bass, my old school hip hop. But to be fair, quite often you'll find me at either a dub night or a jungle night. I love the for me, like, it's expression. I think spoken word is expression, but I think dance is expression as well. I'm not saying I'm the world's best dancer, but there's something about a sense of freedom I don't think I feel anywhere else as than when I'm there, and it's a beautiful sound system playing, there's beautiful music playing, and I'm just there, just moving to it.
Yeah.
So it's
no, good stuff. Good stuff completely, mate. I agree with you there. So for that one. Now, if people want to find out more about you, where are they best going?
Well, as I mentioned before, I'm a terrible self-promoter. But I do have Instagram. My Instagram is just @MikeSpokenWord. So I do post bits and pieces on there, mainly kind of like excerpts of pieces, of longer pieces. I don't have a YouTube channel. But I do have Facebook. I used to have a Facebook page, but I sort of closed it down because it's just easier to post on my personal page. On Facebook, it's just Mike Southwell, and I tend to post a lot of bits and pieces on there. But yeah, it's like I said, because I'm a terrible self-promoter, I'm not great at kind of sharing my art unless it's on the stage performing.
Yeah.
I just tend to, like I said, if I had some form of self-motivator, I'd conquer the world. But unfortunately, I'm motivating myself, so
yeah,
not necessarily ready with everybody else.
I know what you mean completely there, Mike. Before I met my lovely lady, I was like that as well, to be honest with you. So we used to run my
hopefully by the end of this year, if I achieve some of the things that I want to achieve, I'll be able to say, check out my music on SoundCloud or Spotify, or go and buy this collection that I've just had published. Hopefully I'll be able to say that by the end of the year, but I'll pull my finger out and actually execute these ideas.
Well, good luck, mate, definitely. Right, what we'll do, Mike, we'll conclude the chat bit now, and if you want to get some of your pieces ready for us, get yourself prepared, and we'll do a part 2, and then we'll hear a few of your works in a few moments, if that's all right with you, is it?
Yeah, not a problem at all, mate.
Right, well, thank you again. Hang around, everybody. We'll see you in a minute or two. Spoken, mate. Hi, guys. It's Andy with Mike still. Mike's going to do his 3 poems now, I believe. So, Mike, over to you, my friend.
Yeah, this first piece, it's called Masculinity. I won't kind of give it a description. I'll let it speak for itself. So let me talk to just the men for a minute. And I hope my message is clear by the time I'm finished. See, I want to talk about us and what makes us men. Because I think it's time for this toxic masculinity bullshit to end. Because let's not pretend that it's not doing us long-term damage. Like, how do we manage to come to terms with our identity when it's lost in all this bullshit? Like, we can't talk about emotions, just need to bottle it up and hide it. Like, we can't show any weakness and we are taught to despise it. And maybe that's why suicide rates in men are so high, because even when we talk about it, we never acknowledge the reasons why. Raised on bullshit like real men don't cry. And we're meant to be the strongest sex, but we all know that's just a lie. So here we are, the so-called strongest sex. And most of us treat our personal growth like it's something we should neglect. Like acknowledging that we feel vulnerable because our identity has been under threat. And if we're honest, most of us have reason to regret the times when we could have asked for help when we struggle with mental health. But we're too ashamed to say or too scared to accept the blame for our bad choices or the failings of our fathers to impart wisdom. Because this isn't a new one, and you know we didn't forget them. So we are men. Watch me beat my chest or my clenched fist, ignoring the opportunities I've missed to improve myself, ignoring the rising numbers of men struggling with mental health where we fooled ourselves into thinking that we can only achieve success by our ability to generate wealth, instead of a recognition of self that it's the actions that make a man. So why has it become so hard to understand? We are our own worst enemies, creating and then pushing out this toxic masculinity, just an attempt to cover up that most of us emotionally fear our own fragility. So we don't work on our weaknesses and vulnerabilities, and we only have ourselves to blame because generation after generation we continue this stupid game. So why don't we help raise our brothers up? Why is it the only time we big each other up is when we display the negative aspects, when our behaviour is classless, like you brag about your sexual prowess? Yeah, you can swing your dick and kick your game, but can you stick around after and help raise the kid that carries your name? Can you be the man to stick around when times get hard? Will you be the father with knowledge to impart? Can you raise the child that you helped create? Or are you out the door and leaving whenever her period is late? Will you be there to set the example to your son and teach him about respect for others and himself? Will you tell him it's okay to embrace his emotions for the good of his mental health? But none of that will even matter if you don't walk the path yourself. So I'm a man. Watch me acknowledge myself as I beat my chest with my open fist to embrace my fragility. As I tell the world that being in tune with my emotions only strengthens my identity with positive masculinity. To strengthen my connection to the universe and all divinity. And finally turn my back on this bullshit that is toxic masculinity.
Fantastic. Cheers for that, Mike. That's really, I can understand and relate to all of that nearly completely there. Great stuff.
Like
mate.
I said, I didn't want to give it a big lead in. I figured that the piece speaks for itself. So
yeah, no, I agree. Sometimes I think when you perform in pieces, and it's best just jump straight into like you did there. I agree with you completely there. Okay,
I've been at some events where I've seen people spend longer describing the piece they're about to perform than it takes them to perform it, and I always think I never want to be that person.
Oh God, yes.
So
I've actually got poems that the titles are longer than the actual poems. Sometimes you can work that one out, right? So just to confuse people, I'm saying completely, mate. So great stuff either way. What's your second piece tonight?
So the second piece, I will give this a bit of a lead in actually. The second piece has got every single breath. And it's quite simply, it's about just cherishing like every single moment of life. And we've kind of got our priorities skewed a little bit. And it's about what life should be about instead of what life tends to be about. So yeah, it's called Every Single Breath. So life isn't always about achievements or actions that are deemed as an instant success. They say life's a journey, a never-ending quest. And although we all end up in the very same place, it seems that people are rushing to get there as if it's a race. Always looking for the landmarks that show them the way. That they miss the beauty of the struggle that brought them here today. In fact, most of us are wishing the time away, so we look right past the world as on it as every single day. Too consumed with future success and opportunities to look good so that others might seem impressed. The importance of real personal growth becomes easy to neglect. And suddenly you're left with all these little regrets about how you wish you took more time and paid a little more attention, instead of those moments being left to a faded memory's reflection. And this life is full of wonders and sights we often fail to see, because our eyes are too often on the horizon with thoughts of other places to be. And most of us spend our days boxed away, doing something we dislike in a place we wouldn't choose to be unless we were paid to be there. And if one day we didn't show up, they would replace us as if we never were there. Just another number on the screen. Not important enough for the boss to care unless we show up to be seen, so we wish the time away. Because money is seen as more valuable, right? If time doesn't pay the bills and give you a safe place to sleep at night. When you're laying there at the end of this life, would you rather have more money or would you rather have more time? Have a house full of useless possessions or happy memories in your mind? So slow down and appreciate the world around you. Go out and have experiences that have the power to astound you. Live every single minute instead of counting them down. And watch the sunset. And stay up all night and watch it rise again. Make plans to have adventures that you never want to end. Do whatever it takes to squeeze every last bit of happiness and love out of this existence that you possibly can. And enjoy the ride. All of it. Every last heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, painful moment this life has to offer. And don't have regrets about opportunities that miss you, but be grateful for the opportunities that hit you. Because every new day is a gift for which we've been lucky to be blessed. So don't waste the opportunity wishing you were somewhere else instead. That you may not be able to spend memories, but they will always be worth so much more. So slow down, look around and explore every single moment of this life. Don't let the only place you live your dreams be while you sleep at night. Life is beautiful, and this is most likely the only one you'll get. So slow down and take the time to appreciate every single breath.
Brilliant. I think you worked really well then on that one, Mike, towards the end of that. Good stuff, mate. Very, very powerful stuff indeed, mate. So
that piece took me 15 minutes to write.
Did it really? Wow. Now, anyone's wondering about...
It's one of those things where I can plan pieces or they can just come to me. So
wow.
I remember when I wrote that one in 15 minutes.
Wow. Now, everyone's wondering the little gig on the background. I've got Amanda sat in the background here. She's been a silent partner tonight. But she like me trying to quiet like a giggle and like...
It just made me laugh because you said you worked really hard and he goes, I've spent 15 minutes on it.
No, great stuff.
I think all writers know sometimes that you can spend hours on something or you can spend minutes on something. It's, it's not the process, it's the finished art.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And that's probably like you said, you were saying before, weren't you? That some of your pieces come very, very quickly. That one, I can't quite suspect you probably had it almost wrote in your first draft there, probably, didn't you, so?
That was one draft. I've tweaked bits and pieces here and there. Like maybe kind of added a line, took a line away to make sure it flows better, but pretty much 15 minutes from start to end, so it's quite proud of that.
That's some going, mate. Respect you, that one went straight away. So now, I think you're going to conclude tonight, aren't you, with something a bit different, as you said before to me off mic.
Yeah. So my final piece, it's meant as a comedic piece, but as with all my work, it's always honest, and there's always a bit of a message in there. The piece is called "Plenty of Bumbling Tinder Fish," and anyone that's kind of done online dating will recognise those names. They're like your big three dating apps. So hence why I went with the title. So yeah, this is Plenty of Bumbling Tinder Fish. So I'm told chivalry is dead. So these days, to show we like you ladies, we send dick pics instead. No need for the complication of conversation. Here's some pictures of my penis from several different angles. A dick pic so good you can frame it up and put it on your mantle. Nothing but class. Now don't be too long reciprocating with a picture of your arse or one displaying your cleavage in a push-up bra, using Snapchat filters, just bunny ears and stars. But what's happened to the art of conversation? These days we pay it zero attention. Just exchanging pics of vaginas, cleavage and dicks. No actual talking, just social media stalking. As if this form of communication is ever rewarding. And all we do is miss the moments that are actually important. So welcome to modern day dating, where casual encounters are the only interactions we're making, where decisions are made by left and right swiping, where nobody actually reads the bio you're writing. And in place of real words, we use tech talk and abbreviations. Are we searching for connections or just a way to ease sexual frustration? Just the next hookup to replace masturbation? In the age of Me Too and objectification, how many times have people put themselves into questionable situations? Because after only a few short exchanges of what could barely be classed as conversation, we arrange to meet up, with the hope that the night ends with a fuck. And we ghost and we block. Just another notch unless you hit it off and someone catches feelings and it turns into something with meaning. But of course that's rare these days, where we've seen each other's genitals before we actually meet. And most of the time before we actually even speak. It's like we are advertising ourselves on dating apps that we are pieces of meat. For exchanges so brief before a moment between the sheets that leaves us feeling cheap. No time for connection this deep. But I too share that blame, because I played that game. And done more than my share of swiping and casual meets. And like everybody else, have the times I felt cheap. And as the number of meaningless encounters starts to increase, the respect for ourselves goes in the opposite direction. So it's time for some contemplation on self-worth. Because regardless of how well these dating apps work to fulfill our sexual desires and needs, we neglect the important parts of dating that they don't feed. The true deeper connection that all of us need. And it isn't the soul you feed when all you do is fulfill your carnal needs. But I'm not here to pass judgment, it's just a simple observation. So bruv, send that dick pic to add to her already bulging collection. And I wish you well in your request for a pic and return of her breasts. And ladies, do lean over. Stick out your arse and pat your lips, because these are always the most flattering pics. And use that Snapchat filter. Worry about him finding out how you really look later. And arrange that meet for a moment between the sheets. It's your life through my critique. So it turns out it isn't really dead. These days we just prefer other methods instead. But like I've already said, ignore my opinion. Because I've been just as guilty myself to begin with. Anyway, I'm off to slide into some DMs the moment this poem ends.
Good ending. I think that's a very good way that, Mike, of finishing set tonight. So thank you very much for that. I really, really enjoyed that. Now,
apologies for some of the language that I've used in those, but I feel like it's there for emphasis rather than be gratuitous. So
no, definitely. From a spoke level's perspective, I have no problems with that straight away. Everything was wrote there. Every point there was to the point, and I would hope everybody would appreciate that one straight away. So, but I did, and I know Amanda did in the background. So thank you for that. Hang around, Mike. I need a quick word off Mike. But this is Andy N signing up for tonight. And thank you again, Mike. You've been brilliant tonight. You really mean that, mate.
Thanks for having us on, mate. Cheers.
See you in a bit, guys. Spoken, mate.